The term the Democrats want you to desperately believe is worse than Watergate, worse than Watergate. As they continued the baseless J6 committee fake hearings, accusing Donald Trump of committing insurrection that never happened, and he had nothing to do with for the most part, except to give a speech, of course. Let's just get to the bottom line. This is the third attempt to keep the barbarian outside of the gates. That's the way the Democrats look at it. President Donald Trump, they don't want him busting through the gates again and getting reelected because that scares Democrats more than anything. It scares the hell out of them. And they're willing to do anything and say anything to prevent him ever returning to the Oval Office. That's the spectacle of the embarrassing J6 hearings at this point. First of all, nobody's watching, particularly. But the networks are back to following it breathlessly and using the same line they've used against Republicans for as long as I can remember. This is worse than Watergate. Remember, Watergate itself was not much of a crime. The cover-up is what caught people out in the open, sent people like Richard Nixon into retirement and G. Gordon Liddy to prison. So let's take a closer look at the whole term, worse than Watergate. Let's take a closer look at, make some real comparisons. Let's do some quick economic comparisons first. In 1975, when Watergate was coming to a head, the unemployment rate was 9%. During the Trump years, it dropped to less than half of that, and Joe Biden claims it's now 3.5%. In 1975, gasoline was 57 cents a gallon. Today, that would equate to about $3.06. But when Donald Trump left office, it was less than $2.35. Inflation in 1975, the inflation rate was 6.14%. Of course, Jimmy Carter hadn't arrived yet. He was coming. The second worst president in recent history was able to goose that number significantly higher. And Joe Biden would have had an inflation rate over 17% if we still measured the same way. So worse than Watergate? Well, it really doesn't look that way now, does it? In 1975, America was pessimistic, but nothing like today. With the worst optimism rates for small business and consumers ever recorded under the failing leadership of Joe Biden. So, worse than Watergate? Do you think if one of the Nixon kids was caught on camera, say, naked with prostitutes, doing illegal drugs, buying illegal guns, and waving those guns around, both of them, while prancing around tugging on his junk, that America would consider the Watergate era worse than what we're going through currently? Yeah, me either. Now, I may not like electric cars a lot yet, but I am pretty sure they would stand up to the Chevette, the Pinto, or the AMC Pacer. I mean, let's be honest, worse than Watergate? Ha! Come on! No, and neither is the manufactured case against former President Donald Trump. The idea that we can criminalize free political speech is insane in this country, and what is far worse than Watergate is the assault on your personal rights as an American. The attacks on free speech, the Second Amendment, religious liberty, and so much more. That's far worse than Watergate. G. Gordon Liddy said what he learned was don't trust John Dean. What Donald Trump and America have learned is do not trust Democrats or their whore companions in the corporate media, because just like John Dean, they're lying weasels who will take care of themselves while lining their own pockets and burying the people they said they would be loyal to. All lies. And don't forget abortion. In 1975, according to Democrats, should be safe, legal, and rare. But now, it should be whatever anyone wants for any reason at any time, right on the street corner. Tell me, what's really worse than Watergate? What is really worse than Watergate? I'll tell you this. Every single dirty scandal Joe Biden and the Biden crime family are tangled up in, that's worse than Watergate. And the fact that the media whores won't say a thing about any of it, that's worse than Watergate. Which brings me to a place that I want to share a little bit of sound with you. I'm going to start with bite 15. Voters in the key swing state of Wisconsin do not care about January the 6th. Like most voters across the country, they're not concerned about that. They're concerned about what's worse than Watergate, which is their economic standing today. Bite 15. Bite 15. Go.
Where does January 6th and those hearings fit on the priority list for you?
On the bottom rung to me.
Is getting a little bit lost in the shuffle.
Don Coors is a Republican who voted for Donald Trump twice and would vote for him again.
I think it's more of a distraction
What the real reason is why these January 6th hearings are going on, I think is beyond what we're seeing superficially.
Ah, yes. Worse than Watergate. I'm pretty sure that if you look, this is pretty startling, by the way. Joe Biden's approval numbers today, right now, as we sit here talking, are worse than Richard Nixon when he got on the helicopter and said, "Goodbye, America." Worse. It's remarkable. 29% Joe Biden's ratings from Civics, 33% from the New York Times. Joe Biden is a horrible, horrible president. We're going to go to bite number 12 now. Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin. He says Joe Biden is a national security liability. He's right. Absolutely right. Bite 12. Go.
Joe Biden is certainly compromised. I heard your last segment there talking about Joe Biden's soft on China policies. I mean, there's probably a reason why Joe Biden canceled the China Initiative, which was the Department of Justice program to investigate Chinese theft of our intellectual property and university systems. Why in the world would he cancel that? Is it because he knows that China knows all the transactions and exactly what Hunter Biden was involved in? So no, this is a huge scandal. The American public deserve the truth because it is putting at risk our national security.
I happen to agree with the senator from Wisconsin. They think they can get him out of office. Of course, last time they told you that he was losing in the polls when he won. They told you that Joni Ernst was losing in the polls. She won. They told you Susan Collins was losing in the polls. She won. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but she's probably better than the alternative. By a little, anyhow. Not by much, by a little. So the Democrats are about to get crushed. Oh, and on abortion, which we're going to come back to, by the way, right after the break. Senator Josh Hawley, who pulled off one of the big wins for the Republicans in the U.S. Senate not that long ago, he gets to talk to the administration and a professor about abortion and what is a woman and the grotesque reality of what these people are teaching young people today. It is remarkable. You don't want to miss it. It's all straight ahead right here on the Steve Gruber Show. We'll be back in just a moment.